Good afternoon guys, welcome to the Rugby and Touch virtual enrichment. Today we're looking at rugby and touch handling. Specifically we're looking at the basics, and then we're going to build that up and give you 4 drills to practice, and then we're going to do a fitness workout at the end. Throughout all of this video, what we'd like you to do is, once you've watched us give a demonstration, pause the video, go outside or go wherever you're participating in the activity, grab a ball and then do that activity, and then come back and watch the next video. Okay, so we're going to begin with just our basic one-handed spin pass, and that's what we're going to focus on today. So with a touch ball, because it is smaller than the size 5 rugby ball, what you're going to do is put your hand towards the bottom of the ball and roll your fingers at the bottom. With a touch ball, it's much easier to hold like this. But with a rugby ball, you can just put your hand towards the base of the ball. And all we're going to ask you to do is rotate your wrist inwards. Okay, so you're rotating your wrist inwards to apply spin to the ball. And it should look just 10 of these up in the air to yourself. 1, 2, okay, so we've got 10 passes off our left hand or our weaker hand, and then we should be doing it off our favoured hand as well. So making sure we practice off both hands, please. In fact, if you're really good at spin passing on one hand, then really we should be focusing on working on that non-preferred hand, non-dominant hand. That's about 10, I lost count there. So that's our one-handed drill. Now, of course, I want you to go back and do that. If you get confused about how to spin the ball, go back to that. And even if you're just walking around the house, you know, walking around your apartment, then just get one ball and just spin it to yourself like that. Get used to the movements as you go from one hand to another. Right, pause the video, off we go and do that drill. The second one we're going to look at then is a two-handed spin passing drill. And this time we have our same hand at the bottom of the ball, and the other one is slightly further up the ball. Okay, so we're looking not much difference between them. And this time we're going to apply a bit more spin using our fingers of our bottom hand and maybe the thumb of our top hand to add more rotations on the ball. And we should try and get quite a lot of spin on the ball when we're doing that here. And you can do it, see, we can do it nice and close to your body. You can also start getting a little bit higher, okay? And we're looking for not just 10 passes, you should be doing this a lot. We're looking at for 50 maybe, because you try and spend some time getting those rotations on the ball, and then change hands. I'm working on my non-dominant hand first before I work on my dominant hand. That way I've still got energy, I'm not tired, and I'm working on getting those rotations on the ball. You can see that I'm really trying to get that flick of my wrist and of my thumb to add that extra rotation. So again, pause the video, go away and do 50 to 100 passes off each hand, just in the air, and then come back and start again. Okay, the second drill is with Mr. Hodnett.
Okay guys, so we're now going to, put that into more of a passing situation. So if you've got a partner, do it with a partner. If you haven't, just replace your partner with a target, and then you just have to go and collect the ball. So we'll use the rugby ball for this. So you're going to start, okay, if we go back a bit so simply, is we're going to start by putting our feet shoulder width apart. Okay, that's really important. The second thing we're going to do, if I do it on this hand so you can see on the video, is I'm going to bring my elbow in nice and tight to my hip, okay? And we're going to engage now the lats, okay, in our back and our shoulder muscles to build this into a pass, okay? Now all I'm going to do is hold the ball crossways with my hand underneath, and all I'm going to do from here is I'm going to extend my elbow out, and I'm going to push towards Mr. Newbery and turn the hand, okay? Now to start with, what you should see is the ball, because how you're holding it, the ball will not turn as we've just done. The ball will turn funny, and that's okay. But the key is from this position is that you don't swing your arm and that you finish pointing your target. Okay? So we don't swing, we finish pointing. So all I'm going to do is extend my hand out, finish pointing to the target. Okay, so nice and tight in there, okay, into that position. Again, focusing on just extending the hand, okay, turning the hand there so that you can see that. Now we're going to incorporate the technique before. So this time I'm going to hold the ball as I did before. We'll take a little bit of a step back, but we're still making sure we're shoulder width apart. Now again, the key is here from this angle is that it's a pushing action. Okay, it's not a swinging action around the side. And all I'm going to do from this position is I'm going to incorporate my spin technique from the earlier drills, and I'm going to incorporate my push so that we end up in a situation, okay, where we are spinning the ball to each other. Notice on the sideline view there from me and Sir, none of us are turning our bodies and rotating. It's all coming from the shoulder joints. Everything from the shoulder and the back. Okay? So that is building up to a one-handed spin pass. Now what we will do, okay, is we're going to turn so I'm slightly side on. Okay? I'm going to hold the ball exactly as I did, and I'm going to bring my supporting hand in like my two-handed spin pass we practiced with. And from this position now, again, I start with a nice high elbow. Okay, I'm not going to swing and allow the ball to drop. A nice high elbow, and I'm simply going to push across the body. Exactly the same. Again, it's not a swing, we're not pulling the ball back here. We're not like a big grandfather clock where we're swinging it down here. We're keeping the ball nice and high at our hips, and I'm pushing across. Okay, nice and high at my hips, and I'm pushing across. Notice on both me and Sir, our finishing position is pointing to our target. If I finish up in the air, the ball will go up in the air. If Sir finishes pointing at the ground, the ball's going to go down nice and low. So finish pointing at your target there. Okay? My aim would be to do as many of those as you can, okay? Practicing that technique again. If you've got a target, keep practicing and get further and further away until you can pass that ball accurately with the spin off both hands.
Don't remember, guys, please remember for this, it's really important you work on both hands. Don't just work on your preferred hand. And if anything, we should be working more on our weaker hand. It's so important in rugby that we're able to pass and spin pass and touch, obviously, off both hands. So please don't neglect that weaker hand because you think you're not quite as good at it. If anything, focus more on it.
Guys, we'll ask you to pause your cameras now and pause the video, go away, have a practice at this, go out in the garden so you've got a little bit of space if you can, okay, or a corridor or a hallway. Please don't be passing the ball around too much in the house, we don't want to get things broken, but if you can, go to a space where you can practice doing this over a little bit of distance. The one thing I would say, guys, is do not sacrifice your technique over distance. Okay, if me and Mr Newbery wanted to pass over a big distance, we'd end up swinging our body, and that's losing the technique. Okay, so go to a point where you can pass with the correct technique, okay, consistently and accurately, and work at that. So pause the video there, go and have a go, and then when you come back, we're going to have a look at some of the fitness elements of today's session.
Okay, so you've paused the video now. We're going to use a touch ball for this one. We're going to look at how we should position our body when we are moving. Okay, so how we position our body as we're moving in touch. We're going to look at, and rugby of course, we're going to look at both, a couple of ways of how we need to move our hips in order to make a pass easier as we're moving. I'll pass it to Mr Hodnett, who's going to lead this one.
Okay, so guys, what the key is that we want to allow momentum to move through our hips as we pass. Okay? Now there are many ways in which we can do this. We're not going to tell you there is a right or wrong way. The only thing we are looking at is that we finish with our hips in a position where we're facing towards our partner. So we've allowed the rotation of our body to transition through that movement, okay, which is going to allow us a little bit more power and a little bit more distance. So there's two ways we can look to do it. First of all, I would suggest if you are beginning, okay, to learn to pass on the move, it's that as you are moving forward, is that I choose to pass when my outside leg is forward. By my outside leg being forward, it's then naturally turning my hips where I can see and pass to the target. Okay? I'll show you that one more time. So I walk forward, when my outside leg is forward, I can turn and pass and allow my hips like that. If I pass in that, if my hips are not facing there, I can't see my target, and it blocks my turn and it blocks my rotation as I move through. The second way, okay, is that you can actually move or you can pass whilst you're going through a step. So this one we would walk forward on, and I'd plant my inside foot, and as I pass, I would transfer through. Okay, so the pass will continue as you move through. Okay, we'll watch that one more time. So I will move forward, inside leg, and I pass as I'm turning and stepping through. So I'm walking and passing. Mr Newbery did the same. Okay, so he plants his inside leg and then turns to pass. So again, once you practice those skills in isolation, if you've got a partner, great. Have a few goes moving up and down, passing on the move, concentrate on your hip position. Okay, if you haven't, best thing to do would be to get a target. So we've got one here. Mr Newbery can demonstrate where he's going to walk forward, and then he's going to aim at the hip shift there. Perfect strike, knocks it over. Again, focusing on the hip position, which is going to bring you that success. Pause your video there, guys. Go away into the garden or where you've got a bit of space. See if you can bring that hip position into your pass.
Okay, thanks for pausing there, guys. So the last thing we're going to work on today is some rugby-focused fitness activities, incorporating what we've learned today with some more fitness-based activities. And we're going to do this for roughly, I would say, you're going to do it for about 10 minutes in total. 3 activities that you can do to keep that rugby fitness up and to still work on those skills. So the first one we're going to look at is called a down-up with a spin pass. So what you're going to do is you're going to do almost like a burpee. You're going to go down, you're going to touch your chest on the floor, like so. You're going to get back up, you're going to do a spin pass in the air, catch the ball, put it down, and a down up. There, spin pass in the air, down. Again, making sure we're spin pass off both hands, and we're going to do that for 1 minute of activity and 30 seconds rest. 1 minute activity, 30 seconds rest. Now you don't need to time this, because if you look in the description of this activity, we have given you a 1 minute timer with 30 seconds rest. So you don't need to do this yourself, you can just use that activity. And what we want you to do is to do that 4 times. 4 minutes of activity, 30 seconds of rest, and then we'll move on to the next activity. So pause the video, click on the workout timer, and do 4 sets of 1 minute down ups with a rugby pass, 30 seconds rest.
Okay guys, hope you've caught your breath and you've enjoyed that one. The second one is we're going to incorporate a little bit of cardio with the passing that we looked at today. So I'd like you to make a triangle if you can with some objects. If you've got cones, that is great. If you haven't, just use some spots on the floor that you can work to. Now we're going to work on this triangle with always working to the point going forward. Okay? So all that's going to happen, we work on the outside of the triangle. Okay? I carry with my left hand when I'm coming up the left hand side of the triangle, and all I'm going to work on is that moving in, hip position, and mimic a pass. Okay? I then retreat, back out, move myself around the cone, and come back in from the right. Hip position when I pass. Move back, okay, change over the hands, in the middle, hip position, so I pass. Now guys, we can do this in 2 ways. You can do it all the same pace, okay, which is not really geared towards the game of rugby, because we are going to change our pace and touch exactly the same, okay? Or we can actually do it where we're exploding, making those passes, imagining there's a defender there that we are looking to engage, okay? So the fast parts of our movement are the in and out. So when I start at this cone, I come in quick and pass, I then reload just as quick. I can take my time across here as the game's transitioning, and then I come in, out, reload. Take my time in the transition, okay? So that is the next drill. You again, use the time that you've got in the description. Exactly the same, guys. You're going to work for a minute on the triangle, then you're going to give yourself 30 seconds rest, okay? Exactly the same as the previous fitness exercise, 3 times through, guys. Good luck, concentrate on your technique, show a change of pace in what you're doing. Okay, pause now, go and have a go.
Alright guys, that's what we're going to do, working on our course. We've worked at some cardio, we've worked at a couple of cardio activities. some little leg burners as well. We're going to work on our core for this activity. So what you need to do is you either need to find a partner, or if you haven't got a partner, you need a tennis ball. Okay, so with a partner, Mr. Hodnett and I are going to show you, we're going to do sit-ups opposite each other, like so. And what's going to happen is I'm going to go back with the ball above my head, I'm going to go back and throw it to Mr. So it's going to do it there, and then throw it to me there. So the ball above my head, and then passing the ball like so.
Guys, if you're finding that quite easy on the catching, can we do it with one hand? So the catches with one hand, put it down, catches with one hand, change that hand as you go through. Okay?
So that's our first practice. If you've got a partner and you've got a rugby ball or a touch ball, the second one we can do is we can use a tennis ball. We're going to sit facing the wall and we're going to do exactly the same activity. We do a sit-up, you throw with your right hand, catch with your left, go down and then rinse and repeat. So it should look something like this.
I'll go the other way so you can see from the front, guys.
Now the great thing about using a tennis ball for this, it's smaller than a touch or a rugby ball. It develops your hand-eye coordination whilst also working your core. And just as the same as the previous activity, you're going to use a timer to do 3 to 4 sets of 1 minute on, 30 seconds off. So just use that timer in the description. Guys, that's it for us for Rugby and Touch this week. We hope you enjoyed the session. Please check in for next week. There'll be another session and there'll be one for the next series of 6 weeks. 6 sessions in total, looking at rugby basics with a fitness element and something you can work on from your own home. Thanks for joining us and we look forward to seeing you again in the future. Cheers guys.